Hello, everybody. Walters954 here. We've got a really special treat for you all today. It's really about pushing the limits of Salesforce, and we've got Paul Karaffa in here to kind of talk a little bit about what he's built inside of Salesforce, or let's say what his team has built, because it sounds like it's a couple different people that have worked on this project. So, Paul, how are you doing today?
Doing awesome. I'm ready to go. It's the afternoon in Hawaii. I've got my mug, coffee, still going hard.
There you
So
go. Gotta double
ready to
even.
get into it.
No matter what time it is, you gotta have a refill of coffee, even if it's the dead of night. Making sure to keep
Right.
going.
Yeah.
So, just a really quick blurb. Paul, tell us what we're looking at here today. Tell us what are we going to be doing here.
Yeah. So we built a game on Salesforce. It's a 90s style dungeon crawler. It's most 90s style dungeon crawlers were like grid style, where you have like a sprite character that moves through a map, encounters some bad guys, fights them, either trying to get out of a dungeon or out of a play space, or find some items. It's a pretty basic game, but don't think anything like that's been built on Salesforce. So I think today we're gonna play through it a little bit, and I'll give some insight on some of the challenges and back end work that had to be done to make it happen.
Well, this is insane. Like, I have never heard of anybody making a game on top of the Salesforce platform. So this is new for me, and definitely why I wanted to have you on for this interview and show and tell type of thing here. So thanks so much, one, for just spending the time, one, to make this, and two, to spend some extra time making a video on it. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cool. So, all right, we are here. I think I'm on the website. It's cloudpacific.force.com/blockZero. Or you can go to their Cloud Pacific website, and I'm pretty sure I found the link through there as well. And we're going to start playing. So, as we said, that this is a 90s style dungeon crawler. I'm going to hit the nice play button over here, and let's see how long it takes me to die. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm hearing some really nice music going on.
nice. Yeah,
Okay.
so this is actually all built in a Salesforce community. Even the previous page, right? So when you click that play button, it's really just a redirect link, and it uses one of like just a basic template. I can't remember exactly which one we used, but just hard link on that one button that brings you right to the menu page here, which is
Mm-hmm.
just a community page. And then in here, we've embedded two custom lightning components, one on the left, one on the right, and obviously the one on the right is the scoreboard, and the one on the left is where all of the new where you create a new character or you'd load a previous game.
Awesome. So already we're seeing in here this really nice scoreboard. We got to try to beat this test person, but we got some crazy hackers down here putting -1 in for things. So that's pretty funny too.
Yeah, so interesting story there. So like we went live with this and then immediately got hacked. And so, which is great. I mean, and the hacker community at Salesforce is pretty good. So I ended up actually having some good conversations with some of the people that hacked the game and getting some insight on how they did it, and then going back and rescripting some of the code
Mm-hmm.
so that if you did try to hack in certain places, it would know it on the server and would rename you and score you at -1.
No
So
way.
essentially, if you do successfully hack, which I don't know if anybody else on the scoreboard has done that at this point, I don't think so. You can get on the scoreboard, but all of the ones below are people who tried and failed.
Nice, 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 nice. Well, we've got this general interface here. What's going on? Let's start up a new game, and I'm going to ask a question about that private key that we have going on here.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Walter's nice.
There we go. I've got to always represent my channel. And then let's see, we're picking our attributes here, and it looks like we only have a couple points. So at least immediately what jumps out to me is like, this looks like an aura or lightning web component,
Yeah.
that you've built in here, and some automatic updating and things like that. So,
Hmm.
hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so here, I mean, we didn't spend a ton of time on this part of the game. Funny enough, like when we really started designing the game, we didn't even consider the menu. Again, we're not game developers, this was just something we were trying to do. But so we spent a lot of our time like actually on the gameplay, how to navigate, that sort of thing. So when it came time to like, oh, we've got a part of the game that's fairly functional. Oh, we need a player. Oh, we need to like have a place for them to create a character,
they gotta build that.
and load a previous character. So that we were like, we gotta figure that out. So we ended up creating a new page, new component for it. We do use Aura components for this.
Awesome.
And it was it was a collective effort between I did the majority of it, but we have two other developers, one that did all the test classes for it, and another one that's very good with front-end design, who helped us out with some of the styling. But
nice.
For this, it's we wanted to put a strict amount of attribute points. So we've got validations here that just essentially make it easy for you to create a character. And so if you try to, for instance, I don't know, go 3, now you've got -2 and try to create a character, you'll get
there you go.
An error, right? You can't go forward.
Awesome. Well, my charisma is definitely 0, so let's or at least a 1. So let's move forward with that. All right, we've created our character successfully. We're going to start in here. All right, game ready. And for everybody that doesn't know, I've never played this before, so this is everything is brand new for me, and it's pretty interesting what's going on here. And Paul's going to help me kind of walk through it and go over some of the different features that we have in here. So we got
as soon as you click start the game, so when you had hit create character, right? So that calls the server and just creates your character and creates creates the map essentially for the character, because you're going to interact with it and be able to come back to the map that you interacted with.
Gotcha.
And then when you go to your game here, we generate a private key, which you'll see in your URL right there. And so that key is used for retrieving your character in the future. And as soon as you come to this, we run a script that just pulls your game or your character into this new Aura component here.
Nice.
And once it's in, it lets you know that the game's ready to play.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, there must have been some, I would say, deep thought that goes into this. I mean, you said you're not game designers, but you kind of have to figure out how to do game design to, be able to put some of this stuff together and hold it together.
Yeah, I mean, we've played a lot of video games.
There you go.
So I guess we're able to draw from some of that, and all of us are, in our 30s, so we, have some history there. This is actually interesting. We really wanted to use declarative tools as much as possible. Obviously, this is super custom, right? So we couldn't use a lot of declarative tools, but this part actually is just a regular screen flow.
Nice.
That we styled up a little bit, and we call the screen flow from the Aura component.
Nice.
To the game.
So we're getting some backstory here. Looks like we're in like a dystopian future type thing, and they're asking for Bitcoin. Like what's going on here? Who thought up this one?
Oh, this is totally me. 100% me. It's one thing about people who enjoy cryptocurrency is you'll definitely know that they enjoy cryptocurrency. But so the idea was there's a dystopian future. We had sort of this like really drawn out storyline with several different branches that we were going to do, so you could have like different outcomes, and oh my god, that was just
I bet it was bad intense.
Decision. Like it was really too much.
Yeah.
Like what we wrote some blog posts on this, and one of the first blog posts, I was like, I'm calling out like storyline writers, like people who write the stories for games. It is hard. It is really difficult. So we had to end up really scaling down what the story was going to be, make it super basic. The full game, when it does come out, will have a little bit more storyline to it, but I think we're probably still going to keep it fairly basic. Yeah.
Awesome. So I've glanced over the how to play. Looks like we got to use the arrow keys, and I'm just going to jump into it. I'm not somebody who reads too many instructions, so I may die a couple times here. All right, so it looks like we're at the Old Man Tavern, just kind of looking around, looking down. So looks like we've got our food, water, health, These arrows, looks like we can move here, and the system information, may end up clicking on that in a second. Dead Man's Tavern, and this is can you kind of tell us about this? So like, where are we at? How is this kind of set up on the Salesforce side?
Yeah, sure. So we wanted to have the maps of each level be static, but we also wanted the character to be able to interact with them. So we actually created we created one object called cells. And so this would hold all of the information about how you've interacted with the cells. And the cells are these blocks in the grid. So that how the character interacts is, all, logged in this cell object. But we also have a custom metadata type that we created called cells as well. And this is specifically for those things about the cell that always stay the same, right? So like, the building that's there is always the same, right? That's not going to change, right? But whether or not you've been there or not is going to change, right? So we need to have some way of designating that. So we have, separate parts of Salesforce that we can use, one custom metadata type and one custom object. So here you can see we're pulling static information about the cell, right? So this is on level 1. The name of the cell is called Dead Man's Tavern, and then the description field for this particular cell is right here: an old village tavern. The locals here are worn and broken, a place to rest.
Right. Cool. So it looks like I'm assuming that I can move on these golden cells, or that's my area that I can move. So I'm going to go ahead and click down here and try to move and see what happens. Whoa.
So this is, the gold cells designate like sort of special locations.
Gotcha.
So the first place was the tavern. The second place is a shop that you just went to. So in the tavern, whenever you go to a tavern, your food and health go back to 100%.
Perfect.
So you get, so all your, and as you travel away from the taverns, your food and water dwindle. And if they go down to 0, then they start affecting your health, and your health starts going down.
Gotcha.
There is some strategy by which you venture out, right? You can't just go around willy-nilly. You really have to consider how far you're going to go and whether or not you're going to be able to make it back without starving.
Sweet. So, did you have any other games that kind of inspired this particular one? Or
there's 3.
Okay, let's hear
3, really. And I would say actually for the interface, if you don't want to scroll down, you zoom out a little bit. So we actually reconfigured the interface a little bit so that you would have, so that this would work on mobile.
Gotcha.
As well. So, and then the arrows that you see below, those you can, move around with those arrows, but you can also move just using your arrow keys.
Let's do it
as well.
Perfect. Okay, so let's move somewhere else. I want to go fight somebody. Oh, I'm going out, and we're seeing our food, our water drop down, but our health is still good. So now we're in the town street. Nothing to see here. Let's keep going. Uh-oh. What is going on? We've got a desperate looter trying to attack us. 100%, you know what? We're going to have to attack them. I don't care what it takes.
Right.
So, real quick, let's talk about, this type of screen. Is it still a flow? Is it an OR component calling a flow? Like, how does that architecture kind of work in this setting right here?
Right. So essentially what we're looking at here is there's a modal that we're calling that's embedded in the component. And we just have an OR if statement above the modal that determines whether or not we're going to display it. And so in the case that we do display it, it's got to be when we're in battle. So we've got a Boolean or attribute that we set that's always set to false when you load the game. And then when you move to a particular cell, it checks to see if there's an enemy at the cell, and it also checks to see whether or not you've been there before, right? So if you haven't been there before, then it's going to load this modal, and it's going to show you the enemy there, and then you can't move away from this. One of the things that we've been told is like, hey, we'd like to like run away from a battle, so we don't have anything like that right now. So you have to, if you get into a fight, you have to end it.
This isn't Pokemon. You've got to do it. All right, let's do our basic attack here. Let's see what's going on. Boom. I hope I didn't like straight up murder them and just,
Yeah, you took him down, man.
Yeah, maybe he's just incapacitated. But we did get some sweet Bitcoin, so that's awesome. Let's continue on. All right, let's go this way. Oh man, we're getting a lot of battles going on here.
Yeah, we one of the criticisms we had for our first version is that there was a bad guy in every cell, and so we had to go back and change that a little bit.
Gotcha. I'm just taking the very fight heavy path. So what's going on with this energy attack here? I'm gonna click it and see if I have any energy, and I do have some, but I don't have an energy weapon, which means there are things to find. I can pick up.
Well, it says you can buy them.
Oh, there you go.
You're collecting all this sweet Bitcoin loot, and you can take it and go buy yourself a sweet weapon.
Awesome. So let's try to... What? I guess if it's a really small rat. There we go.
There you go.
Killed it.
Now, the great thing about this is that rats even carry Bitcoin in the future. We considered not like doing anything with this, but we're like, no,
why not?
Yeah, let's say they're gonna, because all those old school dungeon crawlers, they'll like be blobs that still carry gold. You know, figure dragons carry gold, so why not?
Everybody has some gold on them.
Yeah.
Here we go again. We're getting into this nanobot fight, and one thing it was really quick, and I want to bring up is like when I did that attack and killed that rat down there. Take that, you stupid rat. There's actually sound behind that. So can you talk about the sound a little bit? You know, we have the really good background music going as well, but there is some sound going on for the attacks.
Sound has been a huge part of this, because like every game has got music and it's got background sound, and you kind of you want that. It gives you a bit of feedback on what's actually happening in the game and how you're interacting with it, right? So like everything that you're hearing, we didn't create these files. It's all public, free, free, common license to be able to use. So, we wanted like video games, sort of like 90s style music, something you'd hear from like on Nintendo, that sort of sound.
Yeah.
And then, as you're battling, there's sounds from like deaths or a type of weapon that you might use on an opponent. So that was all built in there too. We didn't have a lot of experience, as you can imagine, with baking in sounds in Salesforce.
Yeah.
So it's not something I've ever done. The only thing I could find was about there's a trailhead where you can download a managed package from, I think, Salesforce Labs, where you can like load it on a screen, and then if you like win an opportunity or something like that,
it does
here's like applause or exactly. Right, that's the only thing we could find. We couldn't really find any of the code in the background on how it works, so we had to research that and sort of figure it out. And this is one of those things that's not really completely figured out yet, because though it works pretty well on desktop, when you're loading any type of files that do audio through audio tags in HTML, which is what we're doing here, there's actually about a 1 second delay.
Really?
It has to do with it has to do with how mobile loads resources to save energy and be more efficient. So they're actually going and fetching it every time, as opposed to desktop that does it at the beginning automatically and just retains them. So you've got to write extra code at the beginning of like when the game loads that really just auto loads all of the sound files right then and there.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's one of the things we have to go back and deal with.
That's a big endeavor there. It's really that's some really interesting stuff. Probably something I won't have to deal with, as far as I know. I was trying to figure out how to load in some sounds, but I'm sure you're learning a lot. And when we talk about pushing the limits, that's where it's at. Like
we use a lot of static resources.
When you're doing stuff where there's like no resources, you can Google it, but nothing's gonna come up. Like that's when you know you're on the edge there.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of, I mean, we ended up with like all of our files for audio are all static resources files that we grab in the JavaScript, and then just load when needed.
Gotcha. All right, so we're back in the shop. We don't have enough money or Bitcoin to buy. We're going for the Doomfist or the Infinity Gauntlet here. So,
Well, you have 1 food and 5.5 water and 8 health.
Yes.
So if you move 1 space up,
I'm going to be restored at the tavern.
Yeah, you got everything over at the tavern.
Perfect. That's great. My health is still down, so that does not recharge while I'm in the tavern. Only the food and the water.
So if you go down 1 to the shop again, so those top ones where you can buy, you've got medical treatment. So if you buy that, that'll restore your health completely to 100%. And the battery cells restore your energy to 100%. And then the recovery chamber restores both.
Gotcha. Okay, really good. And are these things that I hold and can use at a certain point in time, or I'm going to use them right now?
You use them right now, so you don't actually retain them. So that's another thing, like
inventory.
Something this big, there's there's so many systems you have to build out.
Oh yeah.
So we do have an inventory system, but we tried to keep it more basic. So the only things that you hold are items that you find out in the wild, not things that you buy.
Gotcha. That works out. I'm not gonna buy anything yet. I'm gonna live on the edge a little bit here.
Now something that gets people and often gets them frustrated. And I'm like, hey, didn't you read the directions? And they're like, no.
You gotta teach me in the game.
All right. They're like, hey, I get into a fight and then I get my butt kicked. Like, what's going on here? And I'm like, they're like, it seems like it's harder. And I'm like, well, it is. Your health, as you get weaker, your chances of hitting your opponent reduce.
Oh.
Right? So think of them as probability. So your health, and this is the way it would work in assume real life, right? Like if you're at 10% health, your chances are going to be way lower that you'll actually defeat your opponent, right?
Right.
So right now your chances of defeating your opponent are 80%, and it's multiplied by a certain factor. I can't remember what it is in there, but it's essentially an 80% chance. You think of it that way.
Gotcha.
So now it's a 60% chance that you'll be able to get a hit in.
Take that, wolf. Get out of here. All right, let's head back. I'm getting kind of low. If I move too many more spaces, I will most definitely die. And we're at 60% chance of hit. Should we refill our HP or not? That's the question. I'm trying to save up my money. You know what? Let's live on the edge. Let's go out and try to live a little bit more. So we're going down, and these this artwork, I'm assuming you found in like another free repository, or did you guys make it yourself?
So a little bit of both. Assets are they're difficult, man.
Tricky.
Like most of the time, like most gameplay, when you're like talking about like big open worlds and stuff like that, the majority of the time goes to building the assets, right? So, and for people who don't know game design, I don't know game design either, but assets refer to, the files that are graphical in nature, right? So images, they can be 3D objects that you create. Obviously there's nothing 3D here, but they can also be, characters or just anything that's graphical. So we wanted everything to have the same look and feel. We were actually going to work with a graphic designer to build everything out. But the amount of time and expense it would have taken, especially since we were just doing this for free, was just really high.
Yeah.
So we went to, I put it in my blog post. I can't remember the name of the location.
Yep. And everybody, make sure to check the description down below. You'll have a link to these blog posts. You'll have a link to Cloud Pacific, to blockZero, the game that we're playing here. So definitely check down below, and you'll be able to get all of these resources if you want to play like us.
Right. Yeah. So you can, oh man, what was I saying?
Just about the blog post, getting the assets.
Oh yeah, the images. Yeah. So there, in the first blog post that I did, we note the place where we got the images, and they're free. Gotcha. But we used a some sort of image cartoonizer software that's online to take those images and make them look like they were drawn. So all of the images in the game, the locations in the game, all of them are actual places.
No way.
Where they're actual places with actual photos. These are real photos. And then the software generates a piece of artwork. Basically looks like it was almost like, done in a comic book or something like that.
Gotcha.
So we did that and used all the same settings for every single image to give it a basic look and feel. And our graphics budget went from like $2,000 to $699.
There it is, and it looks really great too. Like, look at this; it's awesome in its pathway. So, the dark pathway. You're robotic. I'm assuming I haven't been reading through all the tiles and the stories, but I'm assuming I've seen all of them. They've had a message and what lies ahead as we go along. For those that maybe you can't see it 100%, there is a line or a border out here, which I'm assuming we cannot pass.
Correct.
As we try to go through things here. So I'm gonna just get to a wall really quickly and try to get, I'm pressing over and here I'm clicking over and we can't move through there. So that's really cool.
This was the map and navigation by far was the hardest thing to figure out by far. Everything had to be built from the ground up with us really having a solid understanding of how we were going to make this work. And man, it took a lot of brain power to figure it out. I'm sure smarter people can figure this out much quicker than us. And probably game designers looking at this were like, this is primitive. But for us, just Salesforce developers, this was definitely new for us.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, right. So essentially what we did here is for each of these cells in the custom metadata type, each cell has 4 fields, one for up, down, up. Found the big bad guy. Health 8. Good luck, sir.
All right, this may be it, everybody. I'm out of food too, so
we have full health.
Okay, we're going for it. It's looking good so far in the beginning. Oof. Okay, we're doing good. And he missed. One more.
Him.
Come on. Oh. We're going back and forth. We got him.
Oh,
let's go.
Go back. Don't try to make it to the end. Refill.
Oh no.
Oh, you're so low. So go down 1. So
no, I misplayed it. I went to the tavern first.
You got your health first.
I went to the tavern first. Dang. That was really close though. Oh my gosh.
Close.
Well, we did get to one of the big bosses. I saw that there are other levels. Let's kind of go over that. I'm on level 1.
No, there aren't other. Well, there's no other released levels right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you can make it to the end of this level, and then you'll get on the scoreboard. And then the score is a calculation of a number of different things, but it has to. One of the things we take into account is how many cells you cleared, right? So.
Gotcha.
So you can see every time you move and it turns white, you've cleared that cell. So it calculates that. So as we add more levels, right, the potential score will increase for your player.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah. That's really, I would say, so is it, it's better to have cleared more cells than left some alone? Because there's like the speedrun aspect of things versus the completionist aspect of things.
Yeah. So we wanted to sort of make it harder for people to do a speedrun.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be more strategic because starvation is taken into account and
yep.
You can't get away from that. But also like the more bad guys you beat, the more money you get. And the more powerful weapons you can buy. And you will not be able to beat the end of the game unless you got a powerful weapon.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Most people learn that the hard way. I'm helping out Warren.
You get to the big boss and you're like, oh well, I'm still fighting you with my fists. What am I
right.
What's going on here?
Yeah. And then the attributes actually play a vital role as well, like in what your character is able to do. And this is one of those things we're thinking we probably need to add more information at the beginning of the game so people can more wisely choose their attributes. So you found one of the bugs we need to fix.
Okay.
So check this out. So you'll notice that your health is -1.
Yep.
So we purposely want it to be -1. We actually do want that, and it's because you have endurance, and one of your attributes means that you can survive longer, right? So I think you have like 2 endurance, right? So you can actually go down lower, but because we're doing this based off of a probability of hitting, it's not factoring that in. So when you're in battle, like once you hit 0, your chance of defeating it or hitting the opponent is 0. And so essentially you're just kind of laying there, delirious.
Help me.
Yeah.
Very cool. So how long did it take you guys to do this?
So our original budget was 100 hours. That's what we were trying to do it in.
That's the original budget. There's key phrasing there.
Right. Yeah, that was the original. I feel like every game has gone over budget. Every game that's ever been attempted ever. So I think we've probably sunk in around 120 hours.
Okay.
Into it. It could be more. Probably no more than 140.
Yep. And you're not counting the brain time that you're spending, like on the bed about to go to sleep. You're like, oh, I know how to fix bug in that aura component.
Yeah. I live in Hawaii, and every Friday I go and jump in the ocean, and most of the time I'm just sitting out there talking to myself like a madman, trying to figure out like what we can fix something. At least that's what it's been like for the last month.
Awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I've never been to Hawaii. I live out in Florida. So we do have the beaches, but I don't think they're as beautiful as you guys. But you may say the same thing about Florida.
Well, we're in Florida.
South Florida, so close to Miami, if you know the area.
Oh yeah. We were my sister is down in Boca, and my folks are up in Palm Coast.
There you go.
So yeah, they're scattered, and my brother is Palm Bay. I think it's Palm Bay.
Oh, what are you doing out in Hawaii then? You got, we'll take you back. Come on down.
My mom and my entire family moved down to Florida. We all used to live in Virginia, and a year later we're like, we've decided we're moving, and they're like, oh, where are you moving? And we were like, Hawaii. And then she told me later, this is years later, she was like, when she got off the phone, she looked at my dad and he was like, he one-upped us.
He did one extra.
Right. Oh, we love Florida. Florida's great.
Yeah, I love it too. Well, it looks like I'm not doing as well as my first run. I actually can't believe, I'm playing a little dangerous is what I'm doing. I'm not going back getting my full health and everything like that. So I am getting wrecked here as I go along. So for this last run, I'll play a little bit safer, and I want to hear why you kind of spent the time to make this. I know once again you didn't have to. So what did you do this for?
I mean, there's some basic reasons. One, that we had some extra time in quarantine. We're consultants, right? So
there you go.
Times have it's hit everybody, I think. So we had some we had some extra time as a company, as a team, to sort of figure out what we wanted to do and sort of our next direction. Of course, there's always things that you want to do to help the company survive and thrive, right? But at the same time, there's this idea of having fun through the work that you do. So we thought that this would be a good way of keeping spirits up and having some fun and doing something innovative. So there was a big part of that. The second is I think we just want to see if we could do it. We had been considering doing something like this last year, but we just didn't have the time. But we just thought it was a cool idea, and would be just a really good learning experience to try to do something like this. And we just learned a truck ton of just so much knowledge from doing this. And so it was about learning. It was about keeping spirits up, and honestly, we had the time. So
very cool. I'm happy about it. I'm on here, and I'm not gonna say I'm addicted or anything, but I'm gonna try to get number one for sure.
Go right. Oh no, go up, go up and get your food and health.
Yeah, let me refill here.
Okay.
Purchasing some health.
Okay, and then go down, and then go right where you stopped. Yeah, go right, and right, and right.
There you
Kill
go.
this guy.
You probably know like what all the cells mean.
Yeah,
where everything
and then go
is.
right one more time.
Oh, there it is. I don't have to.
I'm helping you out.
Oh man, there you go. Some key tips from the devs and from the what is it, the camel's mouth or something like that. I don't know how that saying goes.
The rest of everybody tries to do it. They'll know a little something going in.
There you go. So yeah, we're kicking this person's butt.
And there's also good, as you get to certain locations, sometimes there's hints in the descriptions on where you are and what you should be thinking about.
Yeah. There you go. City outskirts are just north. And I know I have a ton of money, so let's head back and see if we can actually buy something. There's probably a shop somewhere else around, but definitely want to get one weapon.
You're super close. You probably...
I think there's one down.
Yeah, you're really close.
Okay. Is that enough? There we go. We got our first weapon. Sweet.
So hit done. Go to your system.
Oh, yeah. We haven't checked that out yet. Here we go. System.
So this tells you your health, energy, food, water, your Bitcoin, all of your attributes, your inventory. So now you have a zapper gun. And below this, it'll actually show you secret items as you collect them.
Wow.
And then that gameplay button, click that. And this will tell you a bunch of stuff. So it'll give you the story recap if you want, player controls, and it'll also give you all of the information on like resource management, how battle mechanics work.
Nice.
To sort of give you some hints on how to play the game more efficiently.
And not just willy-nilly like I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
So real quick, tell me about this, like this component. Well, I'm not even sure 100%. It has to be a component to do some of this stuff. But tell me a little bit, even on this and the menu items. This isn't standard Salesforce stuff that we got going on here.
Yeah, so it's sort of a splice of some standard stuff and some non-standard. So the tabs here, they're called lightning tabs. So we use those tags. And then everything that's inside them, we is custom HTML information, and then it's pulling in or attributes as needed. And then other than that, we're just using the same sort of modal design here, where we've got or if statements that determine whether or not they should be triggered. So like when you click that gameplay button, really all the gameplay button is doing is switching an aura attribute that's a Boolean from false to true. It's like, hey, show this modal, and it turns it to true, and then it opens.
Sweet. This is pretty sick. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to continue on, but, we are wrapping this up a little bit. Paul, take some time. Tell us about yourselves. Tell us about Cloud Pacific. This is your time to shine.
Awesome. Thanks. Cloud Pacific is about 2 years old. We're a consulting firm. We do primarily Salesforce, but we do other things. Right now, we're a team of 7 people, all working very hard on the Salesforce platform. We have pretty highly technical people, 2 architects, several developers, a couple senior administrators as well, 1 graphic designer, and we love building applications from the ground up. So we'll bring anything from concept to deployment. We'll do business automation, and we specialize in development on Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and Community Cloud. So feel free to check out our website. It's cloudpacific.tech. We update it every week. We try to every week with new information, especially for developers and architects that are looking to stay sharp. We try to collectively put together some nuggets of information and be helpful in the community, and whenever possible, build something that's entertaining and innovative and fun.
Well, you definitely got my attention. Well, that's all I've got for you all today. Thank you so much, Paul, and the Cloud Pacific team for putting this together, spending the time. Some of you may hear in some of my other videos, you didn't have to do this. So one, I really appreciate it. And I know the community will be learning a lot, just from seeing what you can do on the Salesforce platform. Like, just let that sink in. Like, everybody's used to maybe Lightning and the regular Salesforce interface, things like that, but these guys are out here building an entire game on top of Salesforce. You know, this is interactive, and you could do something like that. Anybody could do something like this. So I think it's really inspiring, and you know, it's great to have people like you and Cloud Pacific out there that definitely show and are on the bleeding edge of what Salesforce can do. So thank you for that.
Appreciate the kind words.
No problem. Alrighty, everybody. I'm Walters954. Remember to like and subscribe down below. Check for the links in the description and leave some comments. You know, if you're the high score or the scoreboard leader, let us know. Talk some trash down below. And thanks so much for watching. Remember, I believe in you.